Hey folks, it is Dr. Jeff Camarda, Friday before the wonderful Memorial Day weekend at long last. Hope you all have a wonderful and peaceful and blessed experience with those close to you. And let's, of course, remember to memorialize the folks that gave so much for this country, for whom the holiday was named. Not a whole lot market-wise. Again, we keep on busting up against resistance. There was a minor down day, but I mean, it's just really just noise in market fluctuations. Most of the rise this week was on Monday, really compensating for the losses last week. So we're still stuck in this holding pattern. Not really sure which way it's going to go. There's been some really good news on the virus front. Coupled with, as I reported yesterday and the day before, increasing the findings that the virus is spread through prolonged contact with other people, and these super spreader events like New Orleans Mardi Gras and big gatherings, sports events and so forth, where people are concentrated for prolonged periods of time and repeatedly exposed, seems to be associated with heightened transmission of the disease and also the worst syndrome, rather the worst patterns of symptoms. So again, as that continues to develop, if that is in fact the case, it should be relatively easy to reduce the transmission. So that's really good news. If that's what the big problem is in terms of spreading it, and we can certainly modify our behaviors to avoid that. That's great news. And also, Dr. Fauci on the record today saying that this vaccine that Moderna has produced, although it's a very small study, not many patients, and you don't want to draw too many wide conclusions, but there is hard data that this vaccine is actually effective. And not only effective in terms of developing antibodies, but in developing antibodies that actually prevent the virus from damaging the body, because the antibody sits on top of what he called the business end, or the receptor, that of the virus, kind of, I guess, the probe that locks onto your cell and damages it. So that's really, really good news from a health standpoint. It is just wonderful. Surprisingly, the market didn't really rally based on that, and we still have to appreciate that there's been enormous economic damage that has been done and probably will continue to be done, which I, for one, don't think has been fully priced into the markets, which is why I'm still believing this is a bear market rally, and we're going to see a lower leg going forward. But it is, I got to tell you, this is the most optimistic I have been in terms of a curtailed impact on society of the virus really being containable in a relatively short period of time, and finally seeing the light at the end of the tunnel to where the world can go back to close to normal. Ain't going to happen this year, but it really is a ray of light that I'm quite excited about. Anyway, so that's it for now. Still bearish on the market and the economy, but much more optimistic on the health trajectory for us and you, and for America and the world, than I have been in quite some time. So that's really great news. And on that, I want to wish you just a wonderful holiday weekend. Probably will skip, unless there's momentous news over the weekend, or probably will skip the video on Monday. But if there is something to report, we'll rouse the troops at their home offices and get into production and get you something on Monday. Otherwise, it'll be Tuesday. Thank you so much. Have a great weekend with your family and your loved ones. Bye-bye.